Do you know the biggest propeller airplane in the world? Discover this monster today. Moreover, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the video. Welcome aboard and fasten your seatbelts. The wind howled across the tarmac of a Soviet airfield in 1965. Mechanics scrambled, engineers barked orders, and a crowd of dignitaries gathered, eyes fixed on the mammoth figure that loomed at the edge of the runway. There she stood, majestic, impossible, and defiant of the known limits of aviation, the Antonov AN-22, nicknamed Anti-Eye, after mythological giant Antaeus. The aircraft was a creature of brute strength and graceful form, measuring over 190 feet in wingspan and capable of carrying more than 80 tons of cargo. The AN-22 wasn't just another airplane. It was a symbol of Soviet ambition, engineering prowess, and raw logistical might during the Cold War. At the heart of this story lies not just an aircraft, but the dream of Oleg Antonov, a visionary designer whose obsession with building the world's most powerful transport aircraft changed the course of aviation history. The Soviet Union, in the midst of a fierce technological rivalry with the West, needed a way to rapidly deploy tanks, troops, and supplies across its vast territory and beyond. The Antonov Design Bureau answered that call with a marvel that stunned even Western observers. Unlike anything the world had seen before, the AN-22 was the first wide-body transport aircraft and the largest turboprop-powered plane ever built. Its four massive Kuznetsov K, 12 engines, each driving a pair of contra-rotating propellers, produced a deafening roar that could be heard miles away. The sight of those 8 propellers spinning in perfect synchrony was mesmerizing, almost hypnotic. Onlookers compare it to watching a giant mechanical eagle preparing to take flight. In its maiden flight in February 1965, test pilot Yakov Vernikov pushed the limits of what even he believed possible. The aircraft lifted off gracefully despite its enormous bulk, soaring into the overcast Ukrainian sky with surprising elegance. For the Soviet Union, it was more than a technical achievement. It was a statement. Where others saw barriers, the AN-22 smashed through them with steel, horsepower, and resolve. Soon, the aircraft would prove its worth in a series of high-profile missions. In 1969, during a devastating earthquake in Peru, AN-22s were dispatched halfway across the world to deliver humanitarian aid. It was the first time the giant aircraft was used on an international mission, and it made headlines globally. Civilians stood in awe as the huge Soviet transport touched down on the dusty runways of Lima. It brought not just supplies, but a message that even during times of political division, the skies could unite nations. The AN-22 served military and humanitarian missions alike for decades, often under the radar, but always essential. In the heat of Soviet interventions in Africa and the Middle East, the aircraft hauled tanks, armored personnel carriers, and helicopters with ease. In peacetime, it ferried oversized equipment, construction materials, and disaster relief supplies. Its ability to take off from unpaved or poorly maintained runways made it uniquely suited for missions where other aircraft dared not venture. Pilots who flew the AN-22 often spoke of its strange combination of power and sensitivity. Despite its size, it handled well in the air. The cockpit, perched high above the ground, offered panoramic views of the sky and terrain below. The roar of the engines was relentless, yet oddly reassuring, like the breathing of a mechanical beast that knew its purpose and executed it without hesitation. But time, as always, took its toll. As newer and more efficient transport aircraft like the AN-124 Ruslan and the modern AN-225 Mriya entered service, the AN-22 gradually faded into the background, yet it never truly disappeared. Some aircraft remain in service today, operated by the Russian Air Force and seen occasionally in remote airfields, still hauling cargo where few others can. In aviation museums and air shows, the AN-22 draws curious crowds. Children gaze wide-eyed at the enormous propellers. Veterans run their hands along the fuselage, whispering stories to their grandchildren about the iron giant that once ruled the skies. Even in silence, the aircraft seems alive, as if it remembers every mission, every mile flown, every engine roar echoing through the years. The Antonov AN-22 is more than metal, more than machinery. It is a story of ambition and daring, of a world locked in cold conflict, but still capable of building wonders. It is a testament to the idea that engineering is not just about parts and numbers, but about vision, bravery, and pushing beyond the boundaries of the possible. And so it rests, sometimes flying, sometimes watching from the corners of the sky, reminding us all that once, against all odds, a nation built a giant that flew.